Season 3 of School Spirits had the highest ratings out of all 3 seasons, but it also had the most confusing storyline. So today we're going to be going through the plot of all 8 episodes and hopefully getting rid of some of that confusion. Let's jump right in. Season 3 takes us back a day to right after the ambulance takes Maddie away. Claire, Nicole, and Xavier go back inside to look for Simon, but they only find his earbuds because at the end of last season, it was revealed that Simon is now stuck in the spirit world after Janet found him in her scar. Which brings us to the present. She tries to grab his hand to get him out of there, which causes him to trip and cut his hand open, meaning he's not actually dead. And another thing that was revealed at the end of season 2 was Wally getting his door open, but we never got to see whether he went through it or not until now. He decides to stay and also not tell anyone that he got it open. He leaves his scar and heads into the school where he finds out that Simon can see him. Then they all go to the library where they meet up with the rest of the spirits.
Nobody here walked off with Simon's body. Maybe he really is alive in Dead World.
Maddie stayed to protect all of us. She helped us, so we will help you. But we need to focus. Figure out what's going on here.
Janet comes up with a theory on how to get Simon back in the human world that involves all of them going in her scar again, but she thinks they should wait till school's out to execute that plan just to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. And while Janet's explaining her plan, Simon remembers the fact that only the dead get hurled back to their scars if they try to leave. So he tries to jump the fence, as they call it, but it doesn't work. Then fast forwarding to later that night, Maddie's on her way home from the hospital when they drive by the school, which makes her want to check on the spirits. So she gets out of the car and starts running towards the school, down the hallway, and into the library where all the spirits are.
Maddie? Oh my God, you made it.
So now that she's back in the living world, she can only see and hear the spirits in the scars, just like how Simon could with Maddie.
Hi, guys. Have any of you guys seen Simon?
He's here, Maddie.
What? Where?
I'm pretty sure Rhonda heard someone in Miss Field's classroom. She headed that way.
Oh, thank God.
She sprints over to the classroom Simon's in, where he tells her that he's now the one that's stuck in the spirit world. Then after she leaves to execute their plan, but the next day we find out that the plan didn't work. Then everyone heads to the gym for a school assembly where the district superintendent, Dr. Hunter Price, announces that Split River High will be closing down as well as demolished, and a new high school will be built across town. Then a little later in the day, Janet tells Simon about a new theory that she's come up with.
No. What did you do? I saw the lights.
Wasn't me.
Where's Janet?
Dear friends, I had to go. Don't worry about me now. I'm exactly where I always dreamed I'd be, out there, amongst the stars.
In the B plot, Xavier walks into this room at the hospital when this other guy walks in behind him, closes the door, and asks Xavier if he could help him with something, then says, "It's hard finding someone who's alive when you're not." And at the end of last season, Xavier could see and hear Maddie's dad, who died, so it's pretty clear that Xavier can talk to the ghost at the hospital. We find out that this is Kyle, a spirit who died from the same bus crash that killed Quinn, but didn't die until he got to the hospital. He wants Xavier's help getting in touch with this girl that he liked in the band, which Xavier agrees to. He also tells Xavier the real reason the bus crashed was because someone jumped in front of it. In the B plot, Simon wants to let Mr. Martin out of his scar so he can get answers, but the other spirits don't like that idea, so he decides to do it himself.
He told you there's a reason we're all stuck here. We deserve to know more.
I don't have all the answers.
I'll settle for one. Why am I here if I'm not even dead?
Does this have something to do with the bus accident? Quinn, do you have any memory of someone jumping in front of the bus?
I was sitting in the back. You were the first one out there after the crash, weren't you? Do you remember seeing anything?
So what do you remember?
He then tells a story about his friend Ralph who got struck by lightning, so him and his other friend go to get help, but when they come back, the body's gone. And right before Ralph died, he started humming this song. Then one day, while Mr. Martin was in his scar, he heard that same song coming from a hole he found in his scar, which he then decides to go into.
I don't know what was down there. Something grabbed me, clawed at my ankle. I was suddenly pulled underwater, and when it finally released me, I came up for air. I was blinded by headlights.
So you were in front of that bus.
I never intended to be.
But the driver saw you.
And 8 students died. I'm sorry.
Simon wants to go in the hole that Mr. Martin was talking about, but the others think it's too risky, so Maddie tells him to just chill until she can find more information. Then a little later, Wally goes to Martin again for more answers.
How about you tell me what else you know? All this time, all those cryptic-ass messages, I think there's more that you're not telling us.
I really wish there was. Well, Janet was right. I don't know how to save Simon.
And now without her, without you, who the hell is gonna figure this place out?
Maybe I'm looking at him.
So now it's up to Wally to get answers, which is why Simon finds him in a classroom making a pros and cons list, trying to decide whether or not to go in the hole. Simon looks down and sees that the pro side is winning by a lot, then asks Wally if he's really serious about this, and Wally responds by saying yes, but it has to just be me because he promised Maddie that he would keep Simon safe. So Wally goes in the hole while Simon stays above, and once he reaches the bottom, he finds the pool of water that Mr. Martin was talking about, but he gets too close and a bunch of hands emerge from the water, grabbing him and pulling him into the water, which transports him to the library where he's seen by Mr. South, the janitor, who breaks his arm after falling off the ladder he was on. And now that Simon knows that whatever's down there is powerful enough to lift the veil between the living and the dead twice now, he wants to go down even more. But this time he's more assertive about it, so they take the watch from him. But towards the end of the episode, Quinn gives him the watch back because she doesn't want to be the reason he's trapped here. So now that he has the watch back and approval from the spirits, he goes into the hole. Simon turns around to head for the stairs, but as he's going up, he falls down, getting too close to the water, causing the hands to grab him, so Wally has to come down to help him get free. Then they both leave the scar. The next day, all the students are going on the senior trip except for Maddie, Xavier, Claire, and Nicole, who will be in the cafeteria all day serving Saturday detention, because the principal, Mr. Hartman, had to punish someone for what happened the night Maddie got her body back. The spirits fill Maddie in on what's been happening. Simon wants to go back in the hole, but Maddie tells him once again to wait until she can find answers, and once again, he doesn't listen. Then Hartman and the other kids show up, but something comes up that Mr. Hartman has to take care of, leaving them to do whatever they want.
We need to figure out what this thing is.
Yeah, on it. We'll look into it.
What thing is?
They found a church.
Wally tries to stop Simon from going back in the scar, but he can't because Simon blackmails him. But Simon can't get into the scar anyway because he dropped the watch the last time he was in there. So he tells Wally to grab his football so they can go through his scar. Xavier sees that Mr. Hartman is coming back and alerts everybody, so they all rush back to the cafeteria. Then a little later, Mr. Hartman has to leave again, leaving them to discuss all the information they found.
9 people died in the church that was on this site. 8 were children.
It says it happened on October 28th, 1912.
It was the day they split the river. It was meant to help the town prosper, to redirect water to local farms. Something went wrong. There was a flood.
So the old church that was here.
It was also a grave. And now the memory of whatever happened.
It's trapped here, too.
Earlier in the episode, Yuri, Quinn, and Mr. Martin took some shrooms, which is why Mr. Martin was as high as a kite in that scene. And another thing that happened early in the episode was Yuri figuring out that if you take something with you into your scar, it won't reset. But back to the episode, after going through everyone's scar, Wally and Simon finally make it to Mr. Martin's. And in the B plot, Xavier asked Maddie's dad if he can find any answers at the hospital, so he goes to the basement of the hospital to talk to the oldest spirit there.
I know you've seen it.
Seen what?
Your way out. These ones never will.
You hear that? What do you mean?
There are spirits further down, older than us. They are truly stuck here. No way out, no escape. Lost. We call them the Forgotten.
Simon gets grabbed by the mysterious figure who shows him a vision of the kids in the church, but it's not very helpful and just leaves the spirits even more confused than they already were.
Well, we know that 8 children and 1 adult perished in that flood.
So is White Eyes, or whatever we're calling him, the one adult who drowned? Is he Alfred Van Height?
Okay, clearly there's more to this story, and we're not gonna know it unless we go down there.
Are you volunteering?
Me? No. No, I can wait.
Okay.
I think we all need to go.
Not me. I want to sit this one out.
So they go down to the church where they find drawings on the wall that were either drawn with mud or dried blood. A little later, Simon sneaks into the library to grab the watch so he can go back down to the church. Once he's down there, he finds Mr. Martin, who's still down there from earlier.
Why are you down here?
More importantly, why are you?
Whose blood is that?
I don't know. But look at this.
Is that finished? What does it mean?
Do you know who I am?
Is that a threat?
These walls are speaking to us, Simon. Whatever happened down here, it's connected to all of us.
Not us. Not me. I'm not dead.
But maybe you've been chosen for that very reason.
The other spirits notice the watch is gone and figure Simon probably took it, so they head down there where they find Van Height showing Simon another vision. Quinn tries to hit Van Height with a board but accidentally hits Simon instead, knocking him out. In the B plot, there's a festival going on outside, and in one of the tents, the superintendent is doing a puppet show when this lady gets up, says something that's not in English, then walks out. Later, Nicole tells Claire what the lady said, and in the last episode we learn that Claire is Finnish, so Claire knows the lady said devil in Finnish. She's curious as to why the lady called the superintendent a devil, so she follows her into the tarot card tent that she's running.
I wasn't referring to her.
Can you please tell us anything about Alfred Van Height?
Because there's no reason to honor this man. There was nothing great about him. 8 children died in that church because of Alfred Van Height. He killed them. Alfred Van Height was a twisted, empty, greedy man who only cared about money and power.
In the C plot, Xavier calls the lady that Kyle wanted him to get in touch with, but as soon as he brings up Kyle, she says she doesn't want to talk about that and hangs up the phone. So he goes back to the hospital to ask Kyle if there's something else he can use to get his foot in the door. So Kyle says he asked her to prom right before he died. Luckily, Xavier later in the day gets another chance to talk to her because she is also at the festival.
I am the captain of the senior prom committee. We wanted to honor the students who didn't...
Have a good time? That would be me.
Oh, so you went with somebody else?
No, I went with Kyle.
Are we talking about the same Kyle Jensen?
He wasn't the same. Not after the bus accident.
Are you telling me that Kyle survived the bus crash?
Yes.
The spirits fill Maddie in again on all recent information, this time in the greenhouse.
Oh, Simon found this.
AVH.
Alfred Van Height.
I have to go back down there.
No, you don't.
No, he does. For whatever reason, that thing only wants to connect with him. I truly believe there are answers in that place if we just go about it the right way.
Fine.
Simon, Rhonda, and Mr. Martin go down to the church, but then Rhonda gets grabbed by the hands, so Mr. Martin goes to help her, which ends in both of them getting spit out in the library, leaving Simon down there alone with Van Height, who grabs a sharp object and stabs himself in the hand to make himself bleed, because he wanted to show Simon that he is also alive. Simon tells Van Height that he just wants answers, so Van Height shows him another vision. These visions are very draining on Simon, so when he comes to, he tells the others what he saw, that being the fact that the person down there isn't Van Height, but was actually the pastor of the church who loved those kids. After Maddie and Xavier leave, all the spirits go back down to the church where Quinn plays the organ to lure the pastor out so Simon can talk to him again.
I want to know what you're trying to tell me. I'm listening.
The drawings, they're his story. Simon, he's trying to remember.
Do you know who I am? You're the pastor of this church. You drew those. Their story and yours.
In the B plot, Xavier breaks the news to Kyle that someone else is in his body, promising to help him get it back. So Xavier and Maddie do some research to find out that the body snatcher is a town councilman who now goes by Casey Jensen. They also find out that there's a town council meeting happening later today, so obviously they go to it. When they arrive, they don't see Casey Jensen, but they do see the superintendent trying to move up the demolition date on the school, and Mr. Hartman trying to stop that from happening.
According to Section 5, Chapter 8 of the bylaws, there can be no school closure without a community meeting and public vote.
There is an incredibly generous donor on this very board.
Did someone say generous?
Speak of the devil.
Holy shit. That's Kyle.
They talk to him and arrange a meeting at the school, but he doesn't show up, so they decide just to go to his house. He invites them in, makes some tea, then they all sit down on the couch where Maddie takes the cat out of the bag.
I liked your ring.
Been in my family a long time.
Since 1912.
Longer, I suspect, but I wouldn't know. Because, of course, you weren't there, right? Well, how could I be?
You tell us, Mr. Van Height. We won't tell anyone who you really are if you just help us. I promise.
He gets up to answer the door, but Maddie doesn't hear any voices, so she goes to check and finds him running away, then chases after him. Then Xavier gets up, sees that Casey's gun case is open, so he chases after Maddie. And throughout the season, Maddie's been having these visions of the boiler room, and she has another one while she's chasing Van Height.
Well, would you look at that? You're one lucky young lady.
Maddie!
That was a gunshot. Come on!
What the fuck is happening?
He's gone.
They take Van Height to the hospital where Xavier realizes that now is a perfect time to get Kyle back in his body. But he can't find Kyle because he, Maddie's dad, and the hospital lady are trying to figure out how someone could have gotten in the hospital lady's scar to steal Kyle's body.
Hey, I think I found something. There's footprints leading from this.
Fucking finally, we gotta go. Buddy, your body, it is here and it is available. We have to go right now.
So they go to the room where his body's at, and after a little pep talk, he goes back into his body. A little later, the sheriff comes to get Kyle's statement about what happened, so he lets Maddie and Xavier off the hook by telling him that they didn't do it. In the B plot, Simon is now missing after falling into the hole. Mr. Martin's worried that he might have gotten sent to the place you go when you cross over, which gives Wally a thought. A little later, Maddie shows up at the school for another check-in, so they break the news to her.
Do we even know how Van Height got out of the church scar in the first place?
Ralph, after the lightning storm, they never found his body. He was struck on the grounds where the church used to be. Van Height must have used Ralph to get out that day.
And now Ralph's spirit is stuck here.
So Van Height used Ralph, and then later Kyle.
So then, where is he now?
And who's he going to kill next?
Martin goes down to the church to ask Ralph if he knows where Simon is. Then Ralph points to the pool that has now drained, revealing a room even lower in the scar. But the door to get down there is locked, so he and the other spirits use a crowbar. When they reach the bottom, they find a room with 7 windows, which they eventually figure out are also the doors the kids used to cross over. And throughout this episode, Wally's been contemplating if he should go through his door to see if Simon's on the other side. And while they're down there, he finally makes his decision.
Where are you going?
I just have to take care of something. I'll see you soon.
Okay, so it wasn't you, and it wasn't us, and okay, so that leaves. No.
His door showed up the day she left. I don't think he was planning on taking it until today.
Oh, here you guys are. What's wrong?
Maddie goes home, still shook up by the news, when her mom comes home from rehab, sees her crying, and asks her what's wrong. She then reveals everything about the scar, the school, the hospital, all of it. At first, she doesn't believe any of it, but Mr. Anderson's there to back up everything she's saying because he knows she's telling the truth. After that, Maddie goes up to her room where she has another vision. Maddie walks through the door in her vision, which transports her to this forest that has a bunch of doors and mirrors all around it, but she's not physically in the forest because we see her walking down the middle of the road in a trance-like state when a car with an unknown driver stops to pick her up. Over at the school, they're setting up for the meeting where the public decides if the school gets demolished or not. Last episode, Claire found out that her dad and the superintendent have a sketchy deal going on, so her, Nicole, and Xavier have decided to join Mr. Hartman in his goal of stopping the school from being demolished by helping him practice what he's going to say at the meeting. Nicole then gets a phone call from Livia saying that she was the one who picked Maddie up and is about to take her into the ER. But Nicole tells her not to do that, then sends Xavier to go deal with it. So he goes to the hospital and sits down with Maddie and her dad in the waiting room when Maddie's dad suggests that they should keep her moving so no ghost can take her body while she's in this state. So they put her in a wheelchair and move her to an empty room. Back over at the school, the meeting has started and the superintendent is getting agitated by the current pace of the meeting when Nicole gets another phone call, this time from Maddie's mom wanting to know where Maddie is. So Nicole tells her that she's at the hospital, but she's okay. So Maddie's mom rushes over to the hospital, goes to the room that Xavier's in, and tells him that she already knows about everything and demands to know what's going on.
She's safe, we think.
Yeah. Dave?
Maybe she went too far into one of those visions and, door. She kept seeing a door. Maybe she took it.
Find her. Go find our girl.
I know what to do. Tell her I'm gonna bring her back.
He goes into his scar, then through his door. After he goes through his door, it takes him to the same forest that the spirits are in. And back over at the school, Nicole and Claire reveal all the evidence they have that proves that the superintendent gets a big paycheck from Claire's dad if she can get the school demolished. Once they reveal that, everybody turns to look at her, but she's nowhere to be found. And down in the boiler room, Charlie and Yuri are reconciling after a fight they had a couple episodes ago when Charlie smells something odd.
Do you smell that? It smells like gasoline. Are you sure? I could barely smell anything.
Oh, I don't know. We need to find Rhonda and Quinn, and we need to tell them.
Watch where you're going.
Did she just see us?
The spirits watch Van Height through the security cameras start a fire in the cafeteria, which is right below the library where the meeting is being held. So they rush over there to open the doors, but Van Height locked them all, so there's no way to warn them. But then Mr. Martin remembers that they can get in the library by using the pool in the church scar. So him, Rhonda, and Quinn go down to the church, but they can't use the pool because there's no more water in it, so Martin goes to Ralph again for help.
Can you help us get to the library?
It's filling up.
You sent me to the bus stop? Why did you send me there?
He didn't want you guys to be alone. He knew someone was gonna die. He couldn't stop it, but he can warn us. And because of you, Mr. Martin, none of us at Split River High had to enter the afterlife alone.
But not Ralph. He spent almost 90 years in here by himself.
He wasn't by himself.
And while they're doing that, Charlie and Yuri are in the cafeteria trying to put out the fire, but when they pour the water, it's not real. So they have to take the water and fire extinguishers into Charlie's scar so they won't reset. While they're in there, Charlie notices that the fire is somehow spreading to the spirit world, which causes the church scar to fall apart and a beam to fall on the pastor. Mr. Martin and Ralph stay with the pastor while Rhonda and Quinn go through the pool to warn everybody about the fire, which causes a panic. Then Mr. Hartman calls the fire department. In the B plot, Maddie's walking through the forest when she gets tackled by someone.
Dawn?
You did it. You had a breakthrough.
This is where the doors in our scars lead.
Total psycho, huh?
My friend Simon. Do you remember him?
The guy that could see you. Sure, I remember.
Dawn, please. You have to help me find him.
Didn't think I'd ever see you again, especially since you made it back to your life.
How do you know that?
Janet.
If Janet's here, then maybe. Dawn, have you seen Wally?
So apparently this forest is where all the spirits go after they cross over, which means Janet and Wally are here too. Wally is trying to find Simon, but Janet beats him to it when she finds him on the ground after he trips on a branch. Wally doesn't know that Janet found Simon. He's still looking for him, but instead finds a rearview mirror in one of the trees.
You're tuned into 98.
That is a bad sound. Someone's stuck.
Stuck? Stuck where?
No. Don't get lost in there. You have to come out.
Well, that's
Come back.
Come
back now.
Don't believe in that it could.
This will all be explained later, but Dawn and Maddie join Wally in his search for Simon, which eventually ends after they find Janet trying to get him out of the river. Maddie tries to pull him out of the river, but then they both look down at the water, causing them to be sucked into a memory, just like Wally did.
They entered a memory.
Like what happened to you back in the woods.
Like the scars at school. Here, it's reflection. And instead of being forced into our nightmares,
We get to see the good stuff.
fortunately, it's just as easy to get trapped in the good memories as it is the bad ones. There is a way to break through. People we've lost or those we've left behind, they can reach you, but you have to be listening. Maddie?
Do you hear that? Mom?
Yeah, hon?
Nothing.
Maddie, please come back. Maddie.
You have to come with me, Simon. We have to make new memories now.
Once they're out of the memory, Maddie helps Simon remember who he is, which turns him back to normal. Maddie's dad finally finds her and takes her back to his door. Then she and Simon go through it, which takes Maddie out of her trance. Xavier then gets a phone call from Nicole saying that the school's on fire, so him and Maddie rush over there.
Don't try to run!
If you stand in my way, I promise I will find you and everyone you love, and I will bury them so far below this world that they will forget what the sun even looks like. You will stop me.
How do you plan on doing that?
Simon!
I guess I'm alive again.
When Simon went through the door, it spit him right back out where he started. The firefighters arrive, letting everyone out of the library and putting the fire out. Then Maddie meets up with the spirits at the bus stop.
I have to go, but I just wanted to make sure you guys were safe. Sounds like we won't have school for a few days, so I don't know when I'll be able to come back.
Honestly, I could really go for a smoke right now.
The stoners always stash some joints in the greenhouse.
Jump the fence. Guys?
Holy shit.
Did we bring down the boundary?
So somehow the barrier has come down. Simon and Maddie are finally in the same world after 3 seasons. Everything's back to normal and all's well, it ends well. But anyways, guys, that was season 3 of School Spirits. I think season 4 comes out next year, I think. So stay tuned for that. And hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.